welcome to Beam Stream Week 2. I'm your host, Kayla, Galactica, and all the names in between. Make sure that if you haven't already, you guys sign into Rocket Chat so you can communicate with your fellow future humans. Share your work and get help from counselors. We are here for you, and we're so excited that you guys are participating in this program. As you guys can see, Rocket Chat, okay? Go into your team group. There's project help, where you guys can get assistance with any project. There's Earth transmissions. That's where you guys can post all the amazing things you guys are doing. And of course, your team group is where you guys can speak to the counselors and students just like you. Now, before I bring in my special guest for the week, I want all of you to make sure that if you have any questions at all, that you guys are writing it in the chat. Ask our guests about their world, about their projects. Ask anything that you guys need to know today. We are here for you guys. Now, so you guys know the project plan for this week can be found on beamcenter.org/futurehumans. I know a lot of you guys are on week 2, as you should be. But there's also week 1 projects there and week 3. Does not matter where you guys are in the projects. This is a process and a program where you guys can be anywhere. You want to move at your own pace. So no matter where you are, there is a project plan for you. Now, I want to give a warm and special welcome to our special guest, Captain Kyle! Whoa, where are we?
Welcome to Bird World. Greetings. So, as Kayla mentioned, my name is Captain Kyle, and I want to show you my foresight wearable. The planet that I landed on is Bird World. It's covered in avian aliens, and night and day, they're having a dance party. These blinking lights help keep everyone dancing.
Whoa, that's so cool. That is amazing. I really love that.
Yeah, so all this dancing can really mess up your circuit. So I wanted to show you a few tricks to help keep all of your LEDs in place and all of your wires from getting ripped out. First, you take a look at these LEDs. They have really long legs. Makes them really easy for them to get snagged on something and fall out. Some of you have probably run into this already. So what I like to do is take my wire strippers, take this flat part that's used for cutting wires. I like to cut the legs nice and short, maybe like 1/2 inch. But now, it's a little bit harder to tell which one is the positive and which one is the negative. So I use this handy diagram, which is also on the project slides. As you can see here, there's a little piece of metal inside of the bulb. If you look really closely, there's one side that's a little bit bigger than the other side. See that piece of metal inside of there?
Well, that's so cool. I can see it.
So that's the negative side. Now, negative side goes to ground. All of the negative legs are connected together with these wires. So when you go into your sensor badge, you can see that this black wire that's connected to ground goes all the way to the negative side of this LED, which connects to the negative side of the batteries. Positive side of the batteries gives the microcontroller power, and it's basically been coded to turn on and off 5, 6, and 7. That's turning on these 3 lights. Well, 2 now. Let's get this one plugged back in. So the negative goes to the black wire. I have to bend the legs a little bit. Now that this LED is nice and short, it can really help to glue it down a bit. Be very careful when you're gluing. Give yourself plenty of space. Make sure your area is clean. And it's okay to put a little bit of glue right on your breadboard. Glue is an insulator, so it doesn't conduct electricity. Now, I would recommend gluing your 3 LEDs here, but I would not recommend gluing it down here inside of the sensor badge. The sensor badge, you're going to be plugging other things into it later, so you just want to keep this one clean, but you can glue this one down to make it a little more sturdy.
Wow, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, with all that dancing, it seems like you would need to do a lot of things to like make it work. So you glued them, you cut them. It looks so neat. It definitely looks like it's ready for a dance party.
Yeah, it is dance ready. That's true. Another trick when I'm working on this is you might find that with the armband, it's a little bit hard to hold it all together while you put the brad in place to clasp it. If you want to know a way to make that easier, I would suggest you put a little bit of glue right under your brad. Now be very careful not to touch it. In fact, you can use something else to hold it down, like scissors or a piece of cardboard, and give it a good 30 seconds to a minute to cool. You can tell that hot glue is cool when it has turned kind of a milky white instead of clear.
Wow, that's actually a really good tip because I know a lot of people have been struggling with keeping their brads in place.
Yeah, it's really helpful. So I'm going to do that over here as well. Just a good amount of glue. And give it a few seconds. I'm going to just set it aside while it cools.
Okay, so now we know that you made an amazingly cool circuit. Ground is connected to the negative part of the battery, and positive is connected to the positive part of the battery in the long run. Okay, so that's super cool, but I mean, I'm not gonna lie. So is this. This is really cool. How did you make that?
Thank you. These feathers were an exercise in repetition. So it sounds really simple. Well, it is really simple. All you have to do is create one form and repeat it over and over. So I cut these out of paper. And say you landed on Fish World instead. You could take some of your chipboard and you could draw a scale or any form you want. It could be a star, it could be a Christmas tree, any shape you want. And then cut that out. This is going to be like a stencil, kind of. It's your template. So with this template,
I have one of those over here too. Okay.
excellent. So let's take a couple of pieces of construction paper and start tracing this template. Now, it might not look amazing at first, but the more you do, the better. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It's okay if there are some, little differences or little mistakes. That'll actually look good in the end.
That's good because I'm definitely not one of the best tracers or cutters, although I try very hard.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, so I'm going to start cutting them out. Each of these scales is going to be set to the side.
Okay, so once we have our scales cut out,
we're going to want to put them together. And to do that, I'm going to cut a strip. I've got this flat strip here. And when I'm working with paper, I don't like to use the hot glue. It's just too easy to burn myself. So I prefer to use the glue stick that came in your kit as well. And I'll just run some glue along the strip, like so. And what do you think? Should we do an alternating green and red pattern, or should we do all green, all red, like stripes?
I definitely think it should be alternating green and red type of pattern.
Awesome. So I'm going to start setting this pattern up. Just gluing each one on. Again, it's okay if it's not perfect.
So you're definitely saying that it's better to use a glue stick instead of the hot glue gun for paper. Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah, I generally steer away from the glue gun unless I really have to, because it's too easy to burn myself with it.
Yeah, I've definitely gotten a few glue gun burns in my past.
Yeah, they're great to have for, more structural stuff that has to be strong. For example, we're going to need something to put these scales on. If you look inside of my wearable, I put this chipboard sheet here, or cardboard sheet.
Oh, that makes sense because normally it starts off like this, so you put a piece of cardboard inside of there.
That's right. I need something to glue it to.
That makes a lot of sense.
Because
okay.
there's just not that much surface area here. It's hard to work with that. So I'll start with a rectangle. That seems like a fine size. And I will use the glue gun for this.
So glue gun for chipboard, glue stick for paper. Okay.
Yeah, generally. It's not a rule, but I think it's a good idea. I put a good amount of glue here so that it stays put. And set that down there. Alright. So do you think that the scales should be coming up this way or going off to the side?
I'm not sure. I guess maybe going off to the side would be really cool.
Okay. So like that?
Yeah.
Awesome. Alright, so glue stick, because I'm working with paper. And I'm going to start with the back row. Each layer that I add to this is going to go in front of the last one. And actually, I've got a few that I've prepared. I'm going to alternate. I was really inspired by Rachel's journal. I really liked the way that these colors alternated and really popped. It's a little bit hard to see it with the green screen, but it actually looks awesome.
It really does look awesome.
That's pretty sweet. Oh, whoops. I'm going to use the glue stick.
Honestly, you guys that have been coming in as guests have been making amazing projects. And also, I've seen a lot of the Earth transmissions. The students are making some really amazing projects, too.
Yeah, so impressive. Really loving it. Okay, so make sure if you have any questions to pop them into the chat. You can ask me about Bird World. You can ask me about, this fish world that we're maybe going to enter. If you have ideas, you can just shout those out too. Anything goes. So we'll just keep having this pattern. So if anyone's just joining us now, we're working on week 2. This is not necessarily where you are. Some people are just starting today. Some people will continue to start for the rest of the week. It's okay. You can always come back and watch this on, where do we find these?
On YouTube.
On YouTube.
Future Humans channel.
The Future Humans channel on YouTube has all of this documented and recorded. So if you're not to this point yet, you can always come back later and watch this. Of course, you can always log into Rocket Chat to ask your questions as well. Okay, so I started with a green, so I gotta start with red. I think we're good. Looks like this is our last row here.
That was a really cool design, though.
I really like what these colors are doing. They really pop.
So this is the final design?
Yeah, you want to try it on?
Definitely. I'm officially a member of Fish World.
Nice.
This is so amazing. I love it.
So what do they do on Fish World? Is there a dance party there too?
I think there's a dance party in every world. I definitely think that there's a dance party on Fish World as well.
Great. So we're getting a pretty important question in here. Who did the beam in bubble letters on the table? I don't know the answer to this.
I actually also do not know the answer to that question. I'm not sure who did the beam. I think it was Yummy-tron. I think Yummy-tron drew that.
That does look like the hand of Yummy-tron.
If we don't have any other questions, but please make sure you guys are writing them in there. We really want to make sure that you guys are at the counselor roundup at the meeting with your counselors at 3 o'clock. So make sure you guys stop by that meeting so you can not only speak to your counselors, but speak to your fellow future humans. We really want to make sure that all of you guys are writing in the Rocket Chat, asking any questions you have, and participating in the program with everyone else. Also, on Fridays, there is Beam Center Show and Tell on Instagram. If you don't have Instagram, then use somebody else's Instagram. And tune in, and you guys can watch and also participate in Beam Center Show and Tell. It'll be your time to be a special guest, and you can show up your amazing projects that you guys have. This week, we have a special youth guest. Other than that, guys, it was so nice to have you guys jump into the Beam stream this week. It was so nice to have you, Kyle.
Thank you for hosting me.
Oh, thank you. Well, have a great day.
Thank you. I'm headed back to Bird World now.
Have fun. I loved Bird World. That was one of my favorite places so far. Oh.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye, Kyle. Goodbye, everyone. So nice to see you. And remember, stay juicy, my friends. Stay juicy.